The Last Promise, a full, emotional, intriguing story. Evelyn and Aria Caldwell were identical twins, two souls cut from the same cloth, bound not only by blood but by the tragedy that reshaped their entire world. 3 years ago, they lost their mother. It happened on a quiet Sunday morning when the three of them were driving home from a trip out of town. A reckless driver, fleeing from a robbery, slammed into their car with brutal force. The twins survived. Their mother didn't. And the last thing she ever whispered, through trembling lips and fading breath, was, "Take care of each other, and take care of your father, he's stronger than he thinks." Those words became a shadow that followed them every day. Their father, Daniel, never fully recovered. He tried to be the same steady, fearless man he used to be, but grief ate through his confidence. He started losing focus, making mistakes at work, burying himself in quiet guilt. The world that once felt safe and predictable slowly cracked underneath them, until everything collapsed at once. One morning, Daniel called his daughters into the living room. His eyes were red, his hands shaking. "Girls, we're bankrupt," he said. "We've lost the business. Everything." Evelyn felt the room spin. Aria grabbed her hand, the same way she did the day of the accident. Daniel broke down. "I tried, God knows I tried. I wanted to give you the life your mother wanted for you. I'm so sorry I failed." But grief had taught the twins something: when fear knocks, love answers first. They hugged him tightly. "You didn't fail," Aria whispered. "We'll handle this," Evelyn added. For the first time in their lives, they had to step out into a world full of sharp edges. They applied for jobs everywhere, rejected again and again, no experience, no references, no real skills. Until one afternoon, Evelyn finally got hired as a receptionist at a small cafe on the edge of town. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't easy. But it was hers. And then, one ordinary Wednesday, everything changed. The bell above the cafe door chimed. Evelyn looked up. A man walked in wearing a rain-soaked navy suit, his hair messy from the storm, but his eyes, warm. Gentle. Curious. He ordered a coffee, apologized for dripping water everywhere, and gave her the kindest smile anyone had offered her in years. His name was Julian Hale. Evelyn had no idea that the stranger was one of the youngest tech millionaires in the state, the kind of man whose last name appeared in magazines and investor reports. Julian, on the other hand, had no idea Evelyn was drowning under the weight of a family falling apart. All he saw was a girl with tired eyes and a soft voice who still managed to smile at strangers. For weeks, he kept coming back, sometimes for coffee, sometimes for conversation. And Evelyn felt something she hadn't felt since her mother died: the world felt warm again. But the twist came the day the cafe's owner announced they were closing for good. Evelyn slipped outside so no one would see her cry. Julian found her sitting behind the building, hugging her knees. "What happened?" he asked gently. She broke. Everything. The bankruptcy. The accident. Her mother. Her father's sadness. The fear of losing the one job she finally had. Julian listened without interrupting. When she finished, he knelt in front of her, lifting her chin so she'd look at him. "Evelyn, life has taken so much from you," he whispered. "Let me give something back." She shook her head. "I don't want charity." "This isn't charity." His voice softened. "This is me telling you that I fell in love with you long before I knew your story." Her breath caught. Julian continued, "I'm opening a foundation in honor of families who've survived trauma. I want you to run the community center. I trust you with it. And I trust my heart with you." Evelyn's eyes filled with tears, not because he was a millionaire. Not because he offered her a future. But because, for the first time since the night of the accident, she felt chosen by life, not punished by it. 3 months later, Evelyn accepted both the position and his proposal. Their wedding was small and quiet, held in the backyard of the home her father worked so hard to save. Aria stood beside her, crying and laughing at the same time. And Daniel, when he walked his daughter down the aisle, he whispered, your mother would say you kept her last promise. You took care of us, and now someone finally gets to take care of you. Evelyn squeezed his hand. She knew he was right. And that night, as lanterns floated into the sky, drifting upward like small, glowing prayers, she felt something she hadn't felt in 3 long years: peace. Because the story that began with tragedy ended with a promise kept, a family rebuilt, and a love that arrived exactly when she needed it most. For a while, life was peaceful. Evelyn and Julian built a warm home together, soft and glowing like a lantern in the dark. The community center she ran grew into a place of healing for people who carried heavy stories of their own. Arya visited often, laughing with her twin the way she did when they were children. Their father, Daniel, finally smiled again. But happiness, real happiness, has a strange way of drawing shadows back. The first crack appeared quietly. Arya started pulling away. At first it was small things: missed calls, cancelled plans, a stiffness in her smile whenever she watched Evelyn and Julian together. Evelyn tried to ignore it, convincing herself that her twin was just busy or tired. But one night, Arya showed up at Evelyn's house with eyes swollen from crying. "Can we talk?" she asked. Evelyn led her inside. Arya stood in the kitchen, clutching a crumpled envelope. "I didn't want to tell you this," she whispered, "but you deserve to know." She handed Evelyn the letter. It was addressed to Julian Hale, from a woman neither of them knew. The words inside froze Evelyn's blood. "You promised you'd come back. You promised to explain everything. I'm holding my breath, waiting for the truth." Signed, Clara M. Evelyn's hands trembled. Arya looked at her, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Evie, I didn't want to believe he was hiding something from you. But this letter, someone mailed it to my apartment by mistake. His name was on the envelope." Evelyn's heart cracked slowly, painfully. The man she trusted. The man she married. The man who helped her build a new life, had a past she knew nothing about. That night, when Julian came home, she held the letter in her shaking hand. His expression changed instantly. Not guilt. Not shock. Something worse. Fear. "Julian," Evelyn whispered, "who is she?" He sat down, burying his face in his hands. "I was going to tell you. I just didn't know how." He lifted his head, and for the first time since she'd met him, he looked like a man carrying a storm inside. "Clara was my fiancée. Years before I met you. She disappeared the night before our wedding. Vanished without a trace. I searched for her for months, and when the police told me she likely didn't want to be found, I tried to let her go." Evelyn stared at him, her breath shallow. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I didn't want my past to poison our future," he said. "I didn't want you to think I was still tied to her. But the letter changed everything. Because someone from his past wasn't just alive. They were reaching for him." Evelyn couldn't sleep that night. Nor the next. Arya stopped visiting. She thought she had caused the fracture between them. And for the first time in their lives, the twins felt a wall standing between them, something sharp and unfamiliar. The storm reached its breaking point 2 weeks later. Evelyn was closing the community center one evening when she heard someone call her name. She turned. A woman stood in the doorway. Rain dripping from her coat. Eyes hollow. Face pale as winter. "Are you Evelyn Hale?" the woman asked softly. "Yes," Evelyn answered carefully. "Can I help you?" The woman stepped forward. "I'm Clara." The world spun. Clara continued, her voice trembling, "I didn't come to take Julian back. I'm not here to hurt you. I needed to tell someone the truth." Her eyes filled with tears. "The night before our wedding, I ran because I was scared. Not of Julian, he was the best man I ever knew. I was scared of myself. Scared I wasn't enough for him. I left without a goodbye, thinking it would be easier for him to hate me than watch me fall apart." She shook her head, crying. "But he never hated me. And when I heard he moved on, when I heard he found someone kind, someone warm, I knew I had to come back and give him closure. Evelyn stood frozen. Why now? She whispered. Clara swallowed hard. Because I'm sick. And I wanted him to know he wasn't the reason I disappeared. The room fell silent. Clara placed a small folded note into Evelyn's hand. It's for him, she said. You decide whether he should read it. You're his wife. You know his heart best. And then she walked away. No drama. No shouting. Just a ghost returning to leave peace behind. When Evelyn came home, she found Julian sitting on the edge of the bed, as if he already knew something had shifted in the air. She came to see me, Evelyn said quietly. Julian closed his eyes in pain. I don't love her, Evelyn. I haven't for years. But I owed her goodbye. Evelyn sat beside him, holding the note. She left this. Julian opened it slowly. It was short. A single sentence, you were my safe place, but she is your home. Julian's tears fell silently. Evelyn rested her head on his shoulder. The shadows of the past had finally spoken their last word. The next morning, Evelyn drove to Aria's apartment. Her twin opened the door with swollen eyes and a trembling smile. I'm sorry, Aria cried. I was scared you'd hate me for bringing you that letter. Evelyn wrapped her arms around her. You're my sister. My other half. Nothing breaks us. For the first time in months, the twins breathed the same air without pain. And that night, as the three of them, Evelyn, Aria, and Julian, sat around the fireplace in the home they fought so hard to keep, Julian whispered, maybe closure isn't the end. Maybe it's the beginning. Evelyn looked at him, at Aria, at the quiet room glowing with warmth. And she understood something, love isn't perfect. Family isn't easy. And life doesn't hand out neat endings. But healing, real healing, comes from facing the shadows together, and that was the last promise she silently made. Whatever comes next, they would face it as one.